my April Year in Fair Isle update. This month has again flown by. Making these monthly recordings really highlights how fast time goes. It's sort of scary actually, but this will be a great video record of what I've accomplished or have not accomplished this year. So it's all quite exciting. This is a big year for me. I've got my birthday. I'm a Taurus, so I have a significant birthday coming up. It's the big seniors moment birthday, and so while scary, I'm very appreciative of reaching this milestone birthday. I've had a lot of friends who haven't made it, so this is for them. Cheers, guys. So let's get to our update. I actually, to celebrate this is the fourth month of my Year of Fair Isle video blog updates. I've got some giveaways this month. I've been sort of struggling with giveaways, not to giveaways. I don't dye yarn. I don't design patterns. I'm not promoting anything. So a lot of people give away things because they actually have a product that they're trying to promote and to give away. But I've got a few things here that I've lined up, and I hope it encourages some of you that maybe haven't subscribed yet to hit that subscribe button, because all of my giveaways are going to subscribers. So first thing I want to talk about is the sweater that I completed for my hubby last month. I was hoping that he would be here on the couch with me to model it, but he's actually busy. This is the last day here in Canada that we have to file our taxes. And, you know, he's been working on these taxes, and we don't really have a big complicated tax thing, but he's downstairs doing the taxes. So I'll just show you his sweater, and hopefully I will be able to insert some pictures of him in this, because I'll be able to maybe catch them tomorrow. We've got a little adventure planned for tomorrow, so I'll take some pictures of him. So here it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the feel of it. I love the smell of it. I love the tension I knitted at. I knit it on a slightly smaller needle, and I think it's an ever so slightly tighter gauge than what the original pattern calls for. And I just think this one will hold up perfectly. I made really doubly sure that the front bands were done right, and actually I discovered one of the errors that I made in this. I thought I knew better. You think you know better and you change things up. The first sweater I made for my hubby like this, I knit the front bands the same time as I did the body, and I thought I was really being smart because I did the 6 stitches. Yes, I think it's 6 stitches of the front bands on a smaller needle than what I was knitting the body at, thinking that would make the front band fit lengthwise. Well, it did fit lengthwise, but the critical part of the construction of this is when you knit the front band separately and you sew it on, that gives you a seam, which gives that front the total support that it needs. It won't grow the way his first sweater did. Do you want to see his first sweater? Oh, okay, hold on, let me get it. Here it is. This is done in the black Welsh. It's a bigger size. It's a looser gauge. He's worn it for years. The sleeves have grown and he wears them now turned up. Love this sweater, but the front bands, you can see the front droops a little bit. This is, would help if I buttoned it up correctly, wouldn't it? I know it droops, but it doesn't droop that much. Here we go. So it does droop, and that is, I believe, because the seam, there's no seam here. I did it, as I said. I knit this, you cast off stitches, no, you leave stitches live here, and the pattern calls for you to knit this button band off to a length that you think is appropriate, and then sew it on. And I as I said, I thought I was being smart and did it at the same time, just on a tighter needle, a smaller needle. Well, that did work, and it looks great, but it didn't give the structure that the sweater needed. So this sweater, totally loved, totally worn to death, still totally wearable. It's just that I felt the poor guy needed a new one, and because I had this yarn on in my room of requirement stash room, I decided to knit it for him. The only change I made to this one was he didn't want the same collar as the black one. He likes this sort of stand-up collar, that if he was wearing a shirt he can fold it down, or he actually really likes it standing up like this. So there you go. Actually, this is technically a finished sweater for this month. Once I'd finished the hubby sweater, I had 4 balls of the British Sheep Breeds Chunky left, and I hate to not use any of this. And since I'm in a stash using mode, I thought, what can I knit with 4 balls of British Sheep Breeds Chunky? And so of course I thought of Marie Wallen, because she's she loves British Sheep Breeds. And this is from her Lakeland collection, collection 2. And there's this Kendall snood, and it actually takes 4 balls of British Sheep Breeds Chunky. And again, this is done in the mid-brown Jacob. So I thought, okay, perfect. And I weighed up my yarn, all my bits and pieces. I definitely have 4 balls worth, and I've started. Not much progress to show yet. I've been doing color work so much, I guess, not long, and I haven't really been doing any cable work. And this has cable 5 back, so take 2 to the back, knit 3, purl the 2 on the cable needle. Nothing seriously mind-numbing. It's just I have to think, and it's a different kind of thinking, obviously, for me than what I was doing when I do color work. So hopefully next month you will see this finished, and I'm really quite enjoying it. I'm playing it off of when I'm doing my big Year in Fair Isle knitting project. So I mentioned earlier that I had a couple of giveaways. Oops, Wacky wants in. Pause. So it's really it's appropriate that my first giveaway, my first official Life LDC video blog giveaway, is related to Fair Isle, since this is my year of Fair Isle knitting. And I have mentioned to you and showed you the Marie Wallen Fair Isle patch cushion. It's a great cushion. Love the pattern. It's all knitted flat in pieces. You knit the square, pick up, knit out, pick up, knit out, pick up, knit out. It's done in, the design is done in Jameson Shetland Spindrift. The shades are wonderful. Of course, if you want to recolor, you can. But the great thing about this is that Marie has made this available as an individual download. I knit this up, started knitting this at one of her workshops, and it's over a year ago that workshop was. So now it's available as a single download. So as my first official Life LDC giveaway, I'd like to offer my subscribers the chance to get a copy of this, a download copy. So what you need to do is be a subscriber to Life LDC. So hit the subscribe button below, leave a comment with your Ravelry name to say that you are interested in being in the draw for a copy of this pattern. And what I'll do is I will do a random number generator to the comments, and I will send the winner a gift copy via Ravelry of the Marie Wallen Fair Isle patch cushion. This is my hard copy, but you will get a digital download copy. So subscribe, comment with your Ravelry name for a chance to win a free copy of this pattern. I think you'll love it. If you're scared of knitting Farrow flat, I got to tell you, after I wasn't big on knitting Farrow flat. I always did everything to convert everything to in the round, being a Shetland knitter from way back. So doing this, I tell you, by the time I was finished, I'm totally comfortable with knitting Farrow flat, and that is why I've decided to knit my Mousa flat. More about that later. So if you want it, enter. I'm sure you know that I am a Rowan ambassador, a Rowan blogger. They send me their some promotional material. They send me sample balls of yarn, and I like I'm using this video format now to give you my impressions of them. I've just done a video on the magazine 63, their spring summer collection, the big magazine, and also an overview of all of the other offerings for the spring summer season. So you can find them as individual videos down on my reviews playlist. I'll keep them separate because people just want to see them and leave them. I won't clutter up the body of my videos with them. But another part of being a Rowan ambassador that I would like to do is to report on the sort of the quality of the yarns, how they stand up after wear. And what I want to share with you today is my métier in brush fleece, because I'm just looking up here now on Ravelry. I did this back in January of 2015. And this is a great sweater. It's by Martin Story. It's a long, I call this a duster because of the length of it. I'll just put it on here. I don't know if it'll show in my screen. See, it's down past my knees, short sleeves, no buttons. I do sometimes put a shawl pin to hold it here in the middle. I sometimes put a shawl pin in the top. Love, love, love this. Brush fleece. It is so light and so warm and so comfy. And I screenshot the information on brush fleece. It's a bulky weight yarn. It is 115 yards or 105 meters to 50 grams. And the makeup of it is 65% wool, it says merino, 30% camelid, which is alpaca, and 5% manufactured fibers, nylon, polyamide. The description here on the Ravelry says it's a lofty yarn. And it is. It knits up really fast on a 6mm needle. I remember when I did this, it just seemed like to go like that. So here's the thing. January 2015, I wear this all the time. So this is, I can report after 3 years of heavy duty, intensive, all the time wear. I actually wear this as sort of like a dressing gown in the winter when I get up and it's cold, the heat hasn't gone up to temperature for the daytime and the dogs want out and I have to go to the back door. This is what I put on. It's sort of just lying always for me to easily put on. So this has had a lot of wear, and I'm just getting ready to put my sweaters away for the summer and going through the washing, and I check them all out, make sure any buttons need sewn on or anything needs repaired. And one of the things I'm going to do here to my brushed fleece sweater is I'm going to tidy it up with my Gleaner. Have you heard about Gleaners? I'm sure you have. Have you not? If you have, I'm, great. If you haven't, my Gleaner. I think I heard about this. It was an Instagram post or might have been, I don't know. Anyway, Gleaner, had to have one. So I ordered it. It arrived in the mail, comes with a bag. It's a very interesting looking thing. Could be a microphone. Could be a back scratcher, I'm not sure. But it also comes with interchangeable heads. So one side is a brush, a lint brush. Always handy to have when you have two white dogs and your husband wears black a lot. Well, I wear denim, and to be honest, I don't really care about the dog hair. Like, it's part of my life here. But the other side is a depiller, and there are three. There, I'll just show you. There is a very fine one. A medium one, which is on the Gleaner right now, and a very coarse one. You can see the size of that one. So before I put this sweater away for the summer, which in this sweater's case probably be a matter of just a couple of weeks when it's really, really hot and I don't need it at all. But before I put it away, I will glean it. And I sort of take it and have a look and see which one works best on the pills. And in this case, I think it's the medium one. You can see already, see it takes the pills off. Now, brushed fleece, because it's a lofty yarn, it is always going to have texture. So if you don't like yarns with texture, you don't like knits with texture, don't knit with brushed fleece. But it's so light, it's so lofty, it's so, I don't know, I just love it. I've got a bag of brushed fleece downstairs in a gray color, stash yarn of requirement, and that's earmarked for Alan. I'd like to share with you my love of my Gleaner. So if you'd like to win your own Gleaner, just make sure you're a subscriber and leave a comment below this video with your Ravelry name, and I will do a random drawing and be in touch with the lucky individual who will win their own Gleaner. Okay? I took off my mete because it's actually quite warm today. I think spring is finally showing up. We had snow flurries yesterday morning just for a brief time. Daisy absolutely loved it, went crazy out there, but today it looks like things are warming up here. So here's my bag, and inside of it is my mete. And when I first talked to you about this project, I said that I would probably knit it in the round and that I might change up a color. And I just wanted to clarify that I'm not knitting it in the round, I'm knitting it flat as per the pattern. I didn't change up any colors because the colors are just too gorgeous, and there's color combinations that I would never put together here, and when they're together they're absolutely gorgeous. So here is my sweater so far. Now I'm at an interesting point. Oh, back to why I'm knitting it flat. One of the reasons I decided to knit this flat was because this is a big sweater. It's quite wide. I think it's going to be 56 inches circumference. So there's 221 stitches on here. That's a lot of stitches, and if I had the full circumference of the sweater, that's way too many stitches for my brain to deal with at one time. And I found that even though this is, I think, a relatively simple motifs, I've been getting all messed up, and I don't know why. I'm not using pattern repeats because the pattern repeats change from each motif. So I just can't be bothered to put the markers in and then take them out for the next pattern. So anyway, I think I'm getting more of a handle on it and not making as many oopses and having to back up. But so that was one reason I decided to knit it flat. Another reason was because of my experience with my Fair Isle patch cushion. I'm totally more comfortable with knitting Fair Isle back and forth flat. And the pattern repeats weren't conducive. For some reason, when I knit Fair Isle in the round, traditionally the patterns just go around. There's no break at the side, and I could have very easily put in a side seam stitch and just changed up there again, but I just thought, you know what, this way I will have a finished piece, and then I will go on to the other one, and I'll have this to keep me going. When I got to this point, I had to start to think about the shoulders. When you look at the pattern, the shoulder has a nice little triangle of pattern, and then another motif goes out to here because it is an angled shoulder shaping. So I want my shoulder to end up at a nice spot so that it gives a nice finish to the shoulder. And so right now I'm looking at this big pattern here will end up at my shoulder, and the shoulder seam will be here, and it will go in depending on, you know, the short rows of the shoulder. That's where I'm heading at so far. I don't know. I think when I get there, I'm not sure if it'll make it too long if I go to the next set of motifs, like this one here. We'll see. So that's my next conundrum, and I'm knitting away on this. So today's demonstration will be a couple of rows of knitting Fair Isle flat, and I'm just coming up to a motif where it has longer repeats. There is a 7-stitch float. There is a 7-stitch float, and so I will show you on that float how I catch the floats again. I know I've done this before, but I think it's something that can be repeated. So this takes me to my third and final giveaway for this video. While I was watching all of the Edinburgh Yarn Festival videos, and I have added a couple more to my Edinburgh Yarn Festival playlist, so check them out, I came across Barbara, and her video blog is called Knitting I Love, and she has a website. I will again link it below, knittingilove.com. And I kept noticing Barbara knits hats. Lots of hats, lots of socks. And she says from the very beginning, she talks very, very, very fast. She has a Polish accent, probably with some Irish accent in there. She says, I am Barbara, a Polish girl living in Ireland. So what I noticed was she had these really cute little holders for her needles, and she always has her socks or her hat, and then she goes like this, and she shows you that her needles are held in this beautiful little felt pouch. Aren't they cute? So I'm thinking, oh, well, you know, I haven't bought any wool lately, except for this. Use some stashed up. Oh, I'll just buy myself a little treat. So I ordered one of these little needle protectors. And it's great because I'm knitting Mousa on my signature circular needles. These things are pointy, they're dangerous, they're sharp, and so this is a great way I can put it in here, put them in here, wind my cable around the little flap, and snap it down, and there they are. My needles are protected. I can stick it in the bag. I don't have to worry about them bending or about, you know, one going this way and one going that way. So this is great. I just take it and stick it in my bag. So I thought, well, geez, maybe one of you guys might like one of these. So I actually have 3 here. An orange one, a green one, and a brown one. So again, if one of you, like LDC subscribers, would like one of these Knitting I Love Barbara needle protectors, let me know. Comment down below, be a subscriber, and if you are the lucky person, you can tell me which color you want and I will send it out to you. I will be giving one of these away because the other two I have plans for. So tell me, do you want the brown? Sorry, do you want the green? Do you want the orange? Or do you want the brown? Let me know and comment below. So that is 3 giveaways this month. And hey, tell your friends. Tell them to subscribe. Share the chance for the freebies, because I have sort of little goals that I've set for myself for the whole year, and I really, I think, maybe could I get up to 500 subscribers for my birthday? Wouldn't that be fun? I'm trying not to put any kind of pressure on, you know, having subscribers and all that kind of stuff. I know that the stuff that I talk about is not the fun, crazy, wild, new, speckly, hand-dyed, giving away yarn thing that a lot of people knit. My demographics probably is older than most of the video bloggers out there, and I know why. It's because I knit Rowan, I knit Marie Wallen, I knit garments, I knit serious Fair Isle. So anyway, spread the word to your knitting buddies. Subscribe up. The more subscribers I get, the more happy I'll be. And after all, it's my birthday, so make me happy. And there you go. So if you tell me on a note below, on a comment below, that you got someone else to subscribe, then you get an extra entry into any one of these draws. So the rule is, you must be a subscriber. You must comment below on what you want, on the entry you want to enter. You're only eligible to win one of the 3 giveaways. And if you get another friend to be a subscriber, and I can see them on my subscriber list, I will give you an extra entry. Okay, so subscribe, like the video to get YouTube to promote it to other people. Don't forget to include your Ravelry name. That's the way I will find you. And that's really it for me for this month. I will do now a little insert, a demonstration of the Gleaner, and also a demonstration of knitting flat and catching floats on both a knit and a purl row. Okay, so happy knitting, everybody. Take care. So here is the Gleaner. It comes with 3 detachable heads. The first one is for very fine fabrics. The Gleaner website mentions that you can use this on your t-shirts to remove any pills. And I'm actually going to try all 3 of these today. So this is the finest one. The medium one. And the coarse one. And you can see how easy it is to change these heads. Just a little push on this button and the head comes off. So I'm going to start with the coarse one on my mete, as I described in this month's video. The front of my mete has the most pills on it. I thought, when I was talking about this earlier, I thought that the medium Gleaner head would be best, but after reading the instructions on the website, I decided that I was being too careful, and then I needed to use the heavier, the most coarse edge, and so I'm giving it a go here. Ooh, look at that. Took all that pilling off. That's definitely the head for this fabric. Anything with with a texture on it that this Gleaner can catch and take off for you. That's great. And I think the fabric looks really nice. So I'm just going to have to continue and do the whole thing, but on to the second head. So I've put my medium Gleaner head on. This is actually a bought knit, and I wear this quite a bit, and it's starting to get a little bit of a pill on it, and I thought I'd just give it a go with this and see if it makes a difference. Wow. You can see the difference. This is where I've gleaned, and this is where I haven't. See the difference? And there's all the little pills come off. Ooh, I can't wait to try the fine one on my cashmere sweater. So here comes the test for the fine Gleaner head. This is my, and I'm not even sure how you say it, Howick cashmere sweater. Cashmere of Scotland, beautiful stuff. Every time I wear it, it gets pills though, because it rubs up on things. So I'm just going to find a spot, yes, down here. Can you see there's pills? And I'm going to very gently use my, just get a little bit. Okay. The fine head, pilly area, pilly area. Of course, you do this gently because it is a fine fiber. The underarm. And it's just taking off very fine fibers. Now, the Gleaner website said to use the medium head on fine fabrics like cashmere, so I'm going to be really brave and give that a try. Maybe this is too fine. Here's the medium head. Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely much better. Go straight down, hold the fabric. And there you go. So a little bit of trial and error to find which head works best on the project you're trying to depill. But I think you're going to really like this Gleaner. So if you would like to get your own Gleaner, don't forget, be a subscriber, like this video, leave a comment below with your Ravelry name saying you'd like to be included in the Gleaner draw. And if you'd like an extra entry for the Gleaner draw, same thing, tell me that you've got someone else to subscribe, and that will give you another entry. So, thanks very much. Today we're using Rowan Big Wool. It's a nice size of yarn. You'll be able to see exactly what's going on. So I've made this little chart, and to start, it's 25 stitches in the little pattern with 2 edge stitches. So I've cast on 27 stitches, and I've purled one row to get back to the side that I prefer as the front side, the right side. It doesn't matter, but I just like these little slanty bits rather than the purl bumps. So that's a cast on row and a row of purl to get back with right side facing on the next round. So when I'm knitting flat, stranded flat, I always start the yarn by knitting the first 2 stitches with both shades. So that's what I'm going to do here. So of course the cream is my background shade and the green is my pattern shade. And let me just get this so you can see it. So the first row is 1 pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 background, we're not going to catch. 1 pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're not going to catch. 1 pattern, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to catch on the middle of those 11. So possibly what I think I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3. On the 4th stitch, I'm going to catch it going up. And on the 8th stitch, I'm going to catch it down. And I will show you exactly what I mean. So here we go. The pattern color comes from below to from the left. Just to the left to keep it in its position. It's one way to do it. Doesn't matter. You can do it any way you want. Sorry, big needles. They're hard to hold on to here and stay in camera position. So first stitch is a pattern stitch. Then there's 5 background stitches. So the main color stitches. So always coming from above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now don't stretch these out, but just make sure they're sitting nicely. Strand from below, a pattern stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again another pattern stitch. So now we're coming to the 11 stitch float, and I'm doing this with my both yarns with my right hand. So 1, 2, 3, and I decided that on my 4th stitch I would be catching in the upward position. So insert the needle, bring the pattern yarn up and knit underneath it. Keep that yarn up. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th stitch I'm going to take it back down. So insert the needle into the stitch, take that yarn back down, just hold it gently. There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 1 pattern stitch, and to complete the row I do the last stitch in the row with both shades, and that locks the pattern color at the end of the row. So that was the first row. So we're going to be purling back on the second row, and let's just see what's happening here. We've got the edge stitch, which now we will always do in the background shade. Background, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to catch the floats in those 9 stitches. So since we caught it here and here on the 4th and the 8th stitch, we're not going to do it in the same position. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go up. 5, 6. We're going to come down. 7, 8, 9. And then we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pattern, background pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't have to worry about catching floats there. So here we go. So working from the left, 1 stitch in the background, that's the edge stitch, then 1 stitch in the background, 1 stitch in the pattern shade. Now, we're working back. This is the top and this is from below. So the pattern yarn is still coming from below. The background shade is always traveling on the top. This is all part of this yarn dominance thing that some people don't believe in, but I do believe in. So now we have the 9 stitches for the 9 stitch float. So we're going to knit 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th one we're going to go up. So 1, 2, 3, and you can see that that is the stitch where it was caught on the row previous. So we don't want to catch in the same spots all the time. So here's number 4. Take your yarn up and purl. 5, 6, we're going to take the yarn back down and purl. 7, 8, 9, pattern stitch, and I just literally drop one and pick up the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 'pattern, background, pattern, then 5, and at the end of the row do the edge stitch in both shades, and that way you're locking that pattern shade at the edge of your knitting. So that's 2 rows of catching your floats. Row 3 is a right side row, so we're working right to left. Edge stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, background, pattern, 3, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fine, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now normally using fine yarn, I would float over 7 stitches, no problem. But because this is a demonstration on catching floats and this is thick yarn, we are going to catch the floats on this 7 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, no, we don't want to do it here. So we're going to go 1, 2 up, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. 1 pattern, 2 background, and the edge stitch in both shades. So here we go. So edge stitch in the background shade, 1, 2, 3, 4, pattern stitch traveling the road below, 4, 3, pattern stitch from below, 5, background, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 pattern stitch. So get your those, make sure those stitches are nicely spaced, not stretched, not too scrunched pattern. So here come our 7 stitches where we're floating. So 1 up on stitch number 2, so you come underneath the pattern color, 3, 4, 5, and bring that pattern color back down on stitch 6, 7, 'This is very grabby yarn. Pattern, 1, 2 background, and the edge stitch done in both shades of yarn. So there we go, 3 rows. Row 4 is a purl row. We'll be working from the left-hand side of the chart. Edge stitch, 3, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, background, pattern, 5, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So technically no catching involved here. So I'm just going to knit that row once I get my yarn sorted. Knitters will complain about their yarns getting all tangled up when they're knitted stranded knitting, but if you keep your pattern yarn to the left and your background yarn to the right, everything will stay the way it's supposed to be, and I'll just demonstrate that here. And so if you were doing your stranding with both hands, same thing, pattern in your left, background in your right, or if you were doing continental, holding them both in your left, background above, pattern below. I'm not very adept at that. And knitting with one hand, throwing, pattern to the left, background to the right. So here we go. So on this row, it's 3 background. So edge stitch, one, 2, 3 background, 1 pattern, so from below, 5 background, 1 pattern, 5 background, 1 pattern, 5, and 3. And edge stitch in at the end in both shades. I have one twist here. There we go. So that's row 4. So row 5 has a section of 7 here, so that we will be catching there. So I'm going to say go 1, 2, up on 3, 4, 5. No, I'm going to do up on 3, 4, down on 5, 6, 7, 5, 3, and 4. So edge stitch, 2 background, 1 pattern, and here comes our 7 stitches. So we're going to knit 2, up on 3, four, back down on 5, 6, 7, pattern, 5, I feel like I'm just learning how to knit here with these big needles and big yarn. That's why they call it big wool. Pattern, 3, 1, 2, 3, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the edge stitch in both shades. And I'm just going to make sure it's stretched out a little bit before I strand that across. And you can see for sure the pattern yarn is going away on its own, and the background yarn is staying to the right. You know, when I started to do this, I had a big chart, and the stitches actually wouldn't fit on the needle and allow me to spread it out to show you. This seems like such a small little swatch, but look at it here in the big wool. I really actually quite like stranding in big wool. It's a workout. You don't have to go to the gym, just do some stranding in big wool. So you can see the strands, when you look closely. Can I zoom in here? I've zoomed in here. You can see the actual stranding, and you can see that the white floats are above the green floats, and that is the path. That's the path that the yarns take on the stranded rows. Background above and pattern always below. So one of the reasons to me that keeping the yarn below is makes these stitches pop more is because you can see they're actually taller, and it's really emphasized here when you use big wool. So here's our next row. 3, 4, 5, pattern, background, pattern, 5, pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to, as we come across here, we're going to avoid these 2 stitches. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and go up on the 3rd, 4, 5, 6, down on the 7th, 8, 9. Background, pattern, background, edge stitch. Edge stitch, 5, background, We're stranding across quite a bit here. Pattern, background, pattern, 5 again, and now we've reached the long stranded where we're going to go up on 3 and down on 7. So it's a 9-stitch float. So 1, 2, up on 3, so yarn comes up and over, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back down on 7. So it goes up, over, and back down into its position below. And I sort of grab it like that. You're going to have to grab it whatever way it suits you. 7, 8, 9, 'Pattern stitch, background stitch, and edge stitch using both shades. And by doing the last stitch on the row with both shades and the first stitch on each row with just the background shade, it evens up the edges. They don't get terribly bulky. I actually love this combination of colors together. The green and the cream is gorgeous. On this next row, I just noticed that I missed a pattern stitch here, so I've just added it. So it's a section of pattern stitch 5, pattern stitch 5. So I'm not going to worry about that. And then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same thing, 5, back to 9. So you can just take these where you decided to do the floats on this row and put it here, and same thing. And carry these up to here. So I think I've done enough. I'm just going to keep on knitting. And what I'm going to do for anyone who wants to do this little sample as a test for catching floats, I'll tweak this and make it more legible and not so much my hand scratching. And I'm going to put the number of stitches that you're floating through, and I'll put the little arrows up and down. It'll be something that I'll do in Excel or Numbers or something, and make it look pretty for you. And I'll stick it on probably, well, not probably, I'll put it on my Life Lackadaisical blog page for this video blog. Okay, so I hope you have fun trying this, and I'm going to insert in here some pictures of a big cowl that I made as a sample using big wool and stranded motifs at the end here. So until next time, happy knitting! comes that 9-stitch float. So 1, 2, up on 3, 4, 5, 6, down on 7, here we go, back down and around on 7, 8, 9, pattern stitch, background stitch, and the end of the row in both shades. So I'm just going to carry on and finish the rest of this swatch. So we're coming up to the last row here of the actual pattern, little chart here, edge stitch, pattern, 5, my last long float. One, two, background, up on the 3rd stitch, catching up on the 3rd stitch, 4, 5, 6, down on the 7th stitch, oh, maybe not, here. So that was 1, 2, up on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, down on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Can't count, talk, and knit at the same time, obviously. So now to finish this off, to make it match the way I started, I'm going to purl back and then cast off. Okay, so I'll do that in fast time. So here we are with my finished swatch. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. The strands, the floating strands along the back are not too tight, not too loose. When this was, if this was washed and blocked, this would all sort of compress a little bit, it would even the stitches out even more. And it's quite a lovely fabric. Boy, this would make a gorgeous and warm garment if you were inclined to make a stranded sweater or jacket out of Rowan Big Wool. So as I said, I will make this chart simpler, cleaner, with my little hieroglyphics on it. I'll do it up, and then if you wanted to, you can swatch this along with me and practice your stranding back and forth. Until next time, happy knitting! So this was a super chunky cowl that I designed. It was for a workshop. The workshop actually changed direction and I didn't use it, but I still love how this big wool, the Rowan Big Wool, works up in stranded knitting. And I used it to show yarn dominance and to work out some patterns. And I ended up with this, what I really loved this cowl. Got the hubby to take some pictures. Us trying to take photographs together is always hilarious. He takes many, many photographs, then I play with them. Some of them I tweak to death and they don't turn out at all, and other ones turn out really good, and mostly the ones where we're just sort of playing around together turn out the best. So I never did publish this pattern, but here it is. It shows you that Big Wool makes a great stranded project. And I actually ended up, here's the last one. I was intending to make a pattern, so I did this in one of those apps that turns your picture into a painting.